It's very difficult to remember what happened over 20 years. It is 12 or 2012, March the 1st. A couple of days my mother will be 94, and taking care of her more and more over the years. As the doctors were giving her more and more pills in the last 20 years, until this year, or last year, she decided not to take any more pills, and she's been taking more herbs, especially when she needs them. As you may know, that I've studied herbs all my life since the Boy Scouts, and I have become very sensitive to my needs. If I feel a sniffle coming on, I take 2 echinacea and golden seal tablets, combination with burdock and a couple other herbs. Sometimes they're accelerator in there, like red pepper. But anyhow, let's get back to computers and see if I can stay on topic. I remember when one person decided to come to the club and another club was breaking up, they decided to send their members over to us. And then another member called me up once and wanted to see if our club would be acceptable to him, because the club he was in didn't like it when someone was too bossy or wanted to speak their mind. Later on, when I became president, I accepted them very readily, and accepted all members of all special interests. Over the years, we've been trying to get more special interest groups. A lot of the special interest groups we had, like 12 of them, went in different directions. Some of their computers have no longer have been made, like CPM, K-Pro, Osborne, Thomas Sinclair. Other computer manufacturers decided to stick with the PC with a brand name on there, but the internals were almost the same from manufacturer to manufacturer. Although there were some differences, it was mostly the software that ruled the hardware. And Intel was the main chip, except in the last dozen of years or so, a couple other manufacturers made CPUs that competed with them and even surpassed them in some situations. Now there's many cores to a CPU now. After I decided that someone else should have a try to be the president, I suggested one person, and the board agreed with me. And after 2 years, I decided to run again, but this other person wanted to run too, and I forget who else was running in between. But anyhow, a past president came up and and me was going to run, and this other person was going to run. So the past president said that he would throw his votes towards the new guy. Wasn't too new, but he was making his interest known in the last couple of years and taking over more of other people's jobs, and even going so far as to write other companies and say that he was the person that should get the software. Now, I didn't feel that he was ready for the job. No one showed him what to do. Even the position he had, he was doing wrong. Without getting personal with who the individuals were, I would suggest that different things happen that threw different people together. They decided what they wanted. But you can see over the last 20 years, have we had the things that you expected a computer club to have? A choice of special interest groups, being free to start your own special interest group and get other people to join it, to promote your ideas and interests, to have a voice in the club. Over the last 10 years, I see that this person has been running everything, even though every couple of years someone else is supposed to have a chance at the presidency. But it seemed like he never gave control to anyone else. What are the things of control? The different departments, special interest groups, like membership lists, things that are bought, our assets, the library, the mail, our correspondence, when we meet, and just to let other people speak their mind. For example, when we have a meeting, someone raises their hand, he just ignores them if he wants to. He doesn't let other people speak, even if they raise their hand and speak out the person's name, they're not recognized. Doesn't seem to know what the membership wants. Doesn't even do what he should do, and to allow the people on the board to do their jobs. He doesn't help them to learn their jobs. Perhaps it's because he never learned his own job, what it means to be a leader in the club, how to make the club grow, how to keep our memberships, how to instill interest and define the interest of the members, to educate the members on what a computer club or user group is, to have friendly relationship with the vendors, to figure out what the vendors want and what they would like to see out of computer clubs or user groups or special interest groups. They have to know what marketing is, with salesmanship, advertising, advanced marketing, production. Maybe we should create something We always used to create something. Maybe we should let the public in on knowing what the club is and that our club is around, and to advertise our talents and our possibilities, that we're around. We're the second oldest club, special interest group in the United States. There were more professional groups that gradually got into the PC, personal computers. But now there's another big thing that's been going on, is the intelligent phone, or computerized phone. There's so many applications to them, and so many people writing applications to the cell phone, smartphone, or computer phone. There's other categories now, tablets. They've been around now, but it's filling in the gap in between the smartphones and the personal computers, laptops, and notebooks of all different sizes. Netbooks go another size, and advanced notebooks that are downsized, smaller and thinner and lighter in weight, not as much power to them, but ultra net computers or ultra laptops. Some of them are getting to be as powerful as our desktops. They'll never be as powerful as that because they're much bigger. They contain a lot more. They can contain a lot more. As a sidetrack, I'm thinking of all the things I've been streaming in the last couple months. And since Christmas, I've been working with the Xbox and the Kinect add-on, where I can stand in front of my computer and my Kinect can watch which way I'm moving. It is so well done that when I'm playing darts, it knows when I'm a fraction of an inch off the target. I can throw a virtual dart from 10 feet away, and it can track it all the way to the TV screen. It's really amazing. It even can hear my voice and listen for my voice. When I say Xbox, then it gets to attention and listens a little bit more. It can even put some music on, and when I'm saying Xbox, it can still hear me over the chattering in the room. And then if I say new club, if I'm playing golf, it will give me a selection of the different golf clubs. And if I could say 3-iron, and it will put that in my hand, in my virtual hands. And sometimes I can sink a ball from the in the hole from the tee, get a hole in 2 or pretty close to a hole in 1. Hit the flag stick one time. But let's get back to streaming. Is 12,000 movies and TV episodes are on there, over 12,000. And there's another maybe 30,000 that you can order through the mail, but that's another $7.95. And I wrote about Facebook, which is another area that I think we should have been doing. I've been on there about 3 or 4 years and have about 6 groups or more, and belong to about 35 other ones. A couple of those I usually look at every week or so, see what they're doing. I get invites from all the groups to go and help them out with applications, or I get invited to a cafe or coffee or to a bar for drinks or to celebrate somewhere. A lot of places are too far, but I can do it virtually through the computer. Back to the history of the club. There were other people involved, members of the board, and it seems like their positions need to be filled and changed because they do not know their position, what they're supposed to do, and they don't do it, or they get frustrated from trying to do it, or are blocked by other persons on the board to do their job, to find out what their job is. We should have regular reports, know what our assets are. How many computers, how many laptops do we have? How many projectors? What hardware do we have? What accessories do we have? Like lock boxes, post office boxes, the treasury reports. Do we have them in the lockbox? Do we even have a lockbox anymore? It's a place where we can put our funds until we get to the bank. Do we get to the bank every month? Do we pick up our mail every month or every week? Do we look at our correspondence and answer them? Who's there to check on our correspondence? What happens at our meetings? Do we have a secretary that records what happens? Do we even have board members that's supposed to show up and do their job every month or every time that they should report to the membership? If a member asks for something, they should accommodate him if in reason. Are the other members allowed to see our correspondence? Are they allowed to participate with the other user groups? Every position has a second person to back them up. Do they fill the slots when people are missing? Do we have people that are familiar with the other clubs and user groups? Do we have a second? If the president's not there, do we have a second person to take his place? That person is not here. Do we have a third person? And so forth. Does someone take attendance? Do we even know if our board members are attending the meetings? How many members do we have? What's in the treasury gets back to the assets. What do we have? What little carts, what extension cords, what assets do we have? What food and supplies do we have? What happens to the food? Do we have a record of what we have and what we need? Food, plates, utensils. What happens to all the things that are given to the president? Do we have a record of what it is? Do vendors write something that's accessible to everyone, at least the board members? If a vendor like Microsoft sends something, does anyone else know? If any vendor sends anything to us, do we know? Do they write to an alternative address? Is there another board member that are on their list? Can we write to them to find out what they sent? Can we even access the Association of PC user groups? Can anyone else access it besides the president? There should always be 2 people on every committee, on every user group, on every correspondence, on every check that's spent for everything we buy. Do we get a majority of the board for major purchases that also needs the majority of the club? Do the club members know what they're buying or what they're thinking on buying? Where do all the members live? Do we have their addresses, their age, some vital facts on them that they want to volunteer to us? Are they married? How many children do they have? What school do they go to? Where they work? Where they teach? What do they do? These are all interesting things, and I think they would make the club more social. How's their health? Gets back to my other user group in sites and groups on Facebook to deal with health and person's well-being. Exercise, prayer, education. They all deal with what we all want. I even have spoken about just about everything in my holistics groups on Facebook, on Tripod. Facebook has become such an integral part of my life that every group that I have time for, I put there. I got a group for genealogy, health, PACC members, PACC Society, special interest group I have. Caregiver. Mostly it's intimate between my family, but it's open to everyone. There's a lot of people that are taking care of their parents. even if they're in the nursing home or have nurses that come to the house, they can belong to our group. Oh, there's a high school group from the graduating class of my school, and in our group are the people on the reunion committee. It's all to our group and what happens to our families. They're all welcome. I'm trying to think of some of the other groups, but well, there's also about 4 other groups that deal with herbs and physical fitness and health. A lot on mental processes and how to educate yourself. Different sporting groups. Other blogs. People who are interested in Facebook blogs. Those who like to go there and just say what they're doing each day. They're like journals or diaries. But the general outlook on Facebook, you can just write anything on your wall, and anyone else any of your friends can read it. Your friends groups can be friends of friends and friends. So it can be like 3 steps away. Actually, at that rate, it can almost cover like a good portion of the United States. But Facebook seems to only allow what it can handle. Somehow they have a organization that looks at other groups and checks to see what they're doing and control what they're doing. Now that sounds like Big Brother to many people. So we asked Facebook to give us back our privacy so we can change things. As they change things, we can put across what we want. And when we see something that isn't right, we speak out. Well, there are other user groups I have too. Computer user group, and other members in the club that have Facebook users learning Facebook. But it seems like what's fashionable, if you can get a bunch of members together, or you can get a group that's more suited to what you want. Say, example, if you wanted sports fans or a particular sports team fan. For example, Steelers sports fan, or some word like this would catch everyone's imagination and have a purpose that everyone likes. You can have thousands of members show up at one day. All they got to do is tell someone else about your group, and it can grow very fast. There's some groups or people like Bill Gates, maybe you have 6 million fans. it's so big that it's beyond being a group. It's like they don't have members to your group because it becomes too big. Over 4,000 be like too many members that they could take care of answering questions that you have. So they would just generalize their talks. I'd say what books they're reading, where they're going, what they plan on doing. It's almost like a news conference that they would put out every month or whenever they want to, when they're going to do something. These are some general ideas that I would like to do. Last dozen years or so, I tried to mention what I like, how I would get the club back to where I feel they should be and get more members in the club. Allow other people to tell us what they like, what are their special interests, what are they doing with computers, what are other things they're doing that are like computer user groups. Some things to think about.